everyone, welcome back to another ImpulseRC video. My name is Onigiri FPV and today we're answering your questions about the micro apex. So we're gonna make a series of video answering your question about the micro apex frame. Today is the first video and we're gonna answer 3 questions. The first one is gonna be which frame should you go for, 3-inch or 4-inch, and the reasons why you should go for one or the other. The second one is can you build a sub 250 gram with it, and the third one is which components can you put in those frames. So let's start with the first question. So as you can see here, I have my 4-inch built here and I have the frame of the 3-inch next to it. We've done another video comparing dimensions between these two frames, so I will put a link in the description of this video so you can have a look at the specs of both frames. And we can start talking a little bit about the 3-inch frame. If I was going to go for the 3-inch frame, it's because I wanted to build my typical 3-inch build, which would be made for tighter environment, like small places, just, you know, the joy of having a very small drone with smaller and sometimes cheaper components as well in it. And obviously that would be easier to build a sub 250 gram with this frame if I had to choose between both frames. So if I really wanted to build a sub 250, I would totally go for the 3-inch micro apex. In terms of flying, it's gonna fly like your typical 3-inch frame, depending on how you power it. If you're gonna put 4S or 6S on it, it's gonna be a little bit different. It's just gonna fly like a 3-inch. If you're used to 3-inch, you know what I'm talking about, rather than, you know, the typical apex 5-inch. In terms of flying abilities, and this is also why I've decided to go for the 4-inch, if you want something very close to the apex 5-inch, you can go for the micro apex 4-inch. It's pretty much the reason why this one has been created. And if you have the 5-inch apex, you already know how it flies, so you can expect the 4-inch to fly very close in terms of momentum to the 5-inch apex. So in my case, it totally flies like my 5-inch. That's my own perception of it, and I'm super happy because that was the goal with this micro apex 4-inch that I wanted. I wanted a smaller build so that it would be stronger because, you know, it's lighter, so it can handle crashes a lot better. And obviously this wasn't my goal, but you can build a sub 250 gram with it as well. It's gonna depend a lot on the components you're gonna choose, and we're gonna address this in the next question. But long story short, the 4-inch is a smaller 5-inch for people who want a smaller build that will also behave like the usual 5-inch. I hope this answered your questions. If this is not really clear, feel free to ask questions in the comments. But if you want a short answer, 3-inch, your typical 3-inch behavior, smaller components to fly in small environments, a bit easier to do sub 250 grams than with the 4-inch. And 4-inch, it's a mini version of your apex, a bit stronger, and again, it can fly in smaller environment than the 5-inch as well. So now we're going to talk about the components that you can put on each frame. Let's start with the 3-inch. For the 3-inch, you can go super light with 1404 motors. You can also have the FX flat right if you want something a little bit more grunty. And then let's stay on motors at the moment. So for the 4-inch, you can go for 2004 motors. This is the ones I have on this build. And then it's just a matter whether you want to run these frames on 4S or 6S, so that will decide your KV. But pretty much in terms of sizes, you can go very small, 1404 for this one, 2004. That's the sort of range we advise. I'm actually answering both the sub 250 and the component question with one big explanation to group both questions together. So it's good to know that it's going to be a little bit easier to build a sub 250 gram if you are building an analog drone rather than an HD, because the component you need to use for HD drones are a little bit more heavy than when you build an analog drone. So it's also a bit harder to strip naked those components, whereas sometimes you can find very, very light analog camera and VTX. This will help you achieve a sub 250 gram a little bit easier than if you go for an HD drone. But the main The main components that you will save weight on will be the motors or the battery choice. Once you have your motors, you will know which battery you want to use, and then you will start calculating what weight you have left for the rest of your components. When it comes to choosing the stack that you have in it, so a 20 by 20 stack will work. You also have room for a height of 20 mil. So in both frames, you can see it's the same height for both. I have a 20 by 20 mil stack in it, and it can fit as well probably. And both boards are I don't know if you can see, but very safely spaced from each other's. So that's the 4-inch. At the back I also have the stack for my DJI Cadix. So that gives you an idea of what kind of stack you can put in there. So yeah, if we just summarize what has been told, both frames can be built sub 250. Obviously it's going to be easier with the 3-inch because the frame is lighter to start with. The main component you're going to shave weight from are going to be motors and choice of batteries. I personally use 4S and 2004 motors on my 4-inch. We recommend using 1404 motors if you want lighter ones, or FX flat rats as well on the 3-inch stacks, 20 by 20. And the height is also 20 millimeters, and we recommend analog build if you really want a sub to 50 gram, especially if you're going with the 4-inch. It will help you save some weight if you're going analog rather than HD. That's it for today's questions. We'll answer more questions in the next video. If you still have remaining questions about those frames, the components, obviously it's hard to test every single component in those frames, so we try to be very generic in our explanations. But if you still have some questions about these frames that you think I haven't answered in this video, feel free to ask in the comments and the team will answer you as soon as possible. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to give us a like, or share it if you think it can help your friends as well. We're also on Instagram and Facebook, the usual, and our website is ImpulseRC.com. So thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next video, and in the meantime I wish you some happy flying.